In today's video, I'm gonna be talking about scaling in. So scaling in, as you can see on the board here, scaling in a position is adding more buys or sells on a current trade as it moves in your direction. So basically, you can only scale into a trade if it's a winning trade. You cannot scale into a losing trade. I want you to actually write that down or something. Only scale into a winning trade and not a losing trade. So let me show you an example. So let's just say in the market we have something of this nature. No, let's just say we see price playing around like this. And then once we see price in here. So once we see price break this uptrend, what would we expect? As you all know, we'd expect what? A retest to what? To this previous support. We'd expect a retest and then what? Would enter our sells over here. Okay. So let's say now we do see price what? Retest the zone and then what? We enter. Let me just do this. We see price and retest this zone, then we enter our trade, right? Just placing our stop loss just above here. Our take profit will be down here like this. So what this would be our first entry. Let me just do this. This right here would be our first entry. So okay, now we've entered our trade, right? And then from once we've entered, let's say price does move down to this zone. But then before I continue, I want you to note this zone here is actually a powerful zone. Because why? Because if you look left, you can see it respected this zone once there, respected it again. Okay, also here, we can also count this one. But then the point I'm trying to make is that this zone is powerful. So there's a high chance that price can come down to this zone and what? And actually respect it again and push up like this. That's something you need to bear in mind. But let's now assume that price breaks below the zone. When price breaks below the zone, what indication do we get? We get an indication that okay, now our sales are actually fully confirmed. We have a higher chance of price actually pushing down to our take profit. So let's just say price does play out like this. Price breaks, and then once it breaks, we'd wait for what? For a retest. So let's just say price does break and then we retest. From there, we'd what? That's where we would find another opportunity to enter for sales. So at the retest, with what? We enter sales with our stop loss just above here. We do this here. Okay, so TP, the take profits will still be the same. So this would be our second entry, right? Let me do this for you. This right here would be what? Our second entry, as you can see. So now we have this entry running and what? And this entry. So from here, what you do is, as you can see, right, stop loss is here. What you're going to do is the stop loss for your first entry. Let me do this. Let me make this white for you guys. Let me make it red. Your stop loss for your first entry will now be what? Will be the same as what? The stop loss for your second entry. So now you move your stop loss for your first entry to the same position as your second entry stop loss. So now basically your first entry is running risk free. Let me just label this out for you. Okay, this is your stop loss now. So from here, let's just say price what? We've seen a retest, right? And price pushes down. So let's just say it pushes down and starts doing something like this, you know. From here, we can see price what? Had an impulse down, moved down, then we saw it push back up a bit. From here now, it's more confirmation also that we might be carrying on what to the downside, or we might be retesting. So from here, you'd want to secure more profits, and you secure more profits by doing what? Now the stop loss for your first and second entry, you move it from here up here to what? To down, to break even basically. You move your stop loss to what? To break even of the second entry over here. So now your stop loss basically is at break even. It's like this. And now what? Both your trades are risk free now. From here, you're running a risk free trade full out. And from here, let's just say now, okay, price does push below and hit your TP. So you've secured more profits by entering two trades. So do you see what I did? I only scaled in in a winning trade. I was already in a winning trade, and then that's when I scaled in. But then also let me do this. Let's just say once you've moved your stop loss to your break even here, right? And then from there, before you price hits your TP, let's just say price does what? Pull back like this, and then hit your stop loss. There's nothing wrong with that, because what? You haven't taken a loss at all, basically, because this your first position, what? You've made this much. You've made let me do this. From your first position, that's how much you made, you know. And then from your second entry, you've just hit break even, you know. You've just hit break even. So there's no loss taken, basically. So that's what scaling in basically means, and that's how you use it to your advantage. Let me just quickly go to live price action just to quickly give you a quick example. I'm just going to go through an example of a trade that I took. So as you can see here, I'm just going to quickly just go through this quickly. I'm not going to stay on it for too long because it's basically the same thing. But as you can see here, what do I have? Price was in this uptrend here and then broke, you know. Then I took my entry over here. That was my first entry right over here. Let me do this. Right over here. That was my first entry, you know. And then what price came down here. And then let me actually zoom in so you can actually see what happened. Price came down to this support. As you can see, this support, when I looked left, it was actually a powerful support. As you can see here, failed to break here. Here also, there was some resistance here, support. Also here, support, you know. And then watch here, finally, you can see we broke below, and then what? We retested. And then once we retested, what do I have? I entered again. I entered my second position right here at the retest. And then what can you see? Price came down, pushed down, and then what? I looked left again. And then what? I saw this zone here, previous resistance, you know. As you can see, let me show you over here. There was a resistance. Then I'll show you just there. Let me do this. Then over here, you can see it was support for a while also. And then once I saw that, I was like, okay, once we break below this and we retest, okay, now I'm for sure definitely going to the downside because this is what I was basically expecting for price to. Let me just do this. I was expecting what for price to push down, retest here, and then continue to the downside. But then what had happened was that I spotted out this downtrend channel over here, as you can see. Let me make these trend lines wide so you can see proper. No, actually not wide. So let me do this. Okay. As you can see, I spotted this downtrend over here. And then price watch, as soon as I saw this candle push above this trend line, then I was like, okay, I moved both my stop losses, became here at this break even. As you can see here, I had already marked this out as my stop loss. So, because then already I knew once we break a downtrend, it means what we market is showing us momentum for the upside. So, or I already knew that okay, my trade would be invalid now, so it would be safe for me to move my stop loss to break even and take what the market gives me. So as you can see here, basically from here I got taken out by my stop loss, which was okay. This was actually a winning trade because I never took a loss. So basically now what you'd be expecting is for price to pull up, maybe retest the zone, then maybe continue to the upside like that. That's what you could be expecting. But then yeah, that's it for scaling in.